Welcome to another sparring breakdown. As usual, let me start it by saying boxing is the manipulation of distance and timing to control the line. You control the line, you control when and where the exchanges takes place. If you control when and where the exchanges take place, you control the fight. Zachary wants to get here in order to land his shots here. Let's watch. Zach steps forward here. He's coming onto the line. If you're on the line, you can land your punches. Of course, if you're on the line, your opponent can land punches as well. Zach punched onto the line. There's 3 ways to get onto the line. By punching onto the line, by probing onto the line, and by blocking onto the line. Let's go back a touch. So this is the second way that Zach is getting on the line. He wants to get here. He wants to get there so he can land his punches here. So he's gonna, that's a probe. He's probing onto the line. His feet shuffled forward. He's on the line and he threw his punches. All right. Now Zach is very aggressive coming forward. So right now he's an aggressive counter puncher. So 3 ways to get on the line: punching, probing, and blocking. So we're going to see the 3rd way to get on the line. All right. Again, Zach wants to get here. So he's going to block onto the line. Watch. Block. You see? He's blocking onto the line. He stepped forward. He's blocking onto the line. And when he was onto the line, he threw a double jab. Again, Zach he's aggressively coming forward, and he's a come forward counter puncher, at least in this sparring session. He's counter punching on the front foot, slip, throw his combination. All right. He's just punched onto the line, slip. He went forward and counter punch. He's very aggressive here. Zach is going to step onto the line. Now, when you're on the line, you can punch your opponent, but when you're on the line, your opponent can punch you. So when Zach stepped onto the line, his opponent punched, and when his opponent punched, Zach countered. So he's an aggressive counter puncher. He's in aggressive counter punching stance right now. Watch. He steps onto the line, slip, and counter. He's walking forward. You see Zach blocking onto the line. He's coming forward, blocking onto the line. Zach just punched onto the line. He's walking onto the line. So he used footwork to get onto the line. He used footwork in a probe. He's going to pendulum step. Quick pendulum step with that lead hand probe. All right, Zach is in the clinch, and he worked out of the clinch. He's able to attack. Zach is very aggressive coming forward. All right, Zach has to be here. He has to get there to land his shots here. How is he going to do it? Let's see. He tried to probe. He's cutting off the ring. He's aggressively counter punching. He's walking onto the line, just outside the line. So Zach is still being he's still being smart, right? He's not quite on the line yet. All right, so how does Zach get on the line? He's going to skate. He skated on the line. He's walking his man down. He's cutting off the ring. Punched onto the line with a jab. Again, Zach probed onto the line this time. White headgear is having a hard time keeping Zach off the line. Zach probed onto the line with his lead hand. All right. Zach just punched onto the line. He's outside the line. Okay, white headgear is trying to keep Zach off the line. Zach needs to get here to get onto the line. The white headgear is using his footwork to keep Zach off of his line. So watch. See? Zach steps forward. White headgear step back. All right. At that time, white headgear did not step back. He tried to defend using, I believe, head movement. Nope. He tried to throw with Zach. He tried to counter Zach. Zach with the leaping left hook. Zach with the probe. Zach is going to probe using his lead hand, and he's going to use the shuffle step to get onto the line. Watch. Probe, shuffle. He's on the line and through his combination. All right, this time Zach counter. If you are on the line, you can hit your opponent, but if you are on the line, your opponent can hit you. This time Zach allowed his opponent to get onto the line. Watch. His opponent stepped forward onto the line so he could hit Zach. But at the same time, if he hit Zach, Zach can hit him. What is counterpunching? Using your defense to generate offense. So watch. Stepped forward, Zach pulled, and try to counter with a hook.
Zach, when you on that relaxed shit like that, keep your hands up.
Double jab. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Zach cutting off the ring. All right, that's the end. Oh, no. I think the guy lost his mouthpiece. All right, need to wash that off. I'm in the corner here. I'm about to wash it off for him. All right, we pick it back up. All right, so again, that's an example of probing in. 3 ways to effectively get on the line, I should say. Probing in, blocking in, or punching in. All right. Watch Zach probe in. He's going to use his lead hand to probe in. So watch, probe, pendulum step, or shuffle step. All right. Probe, shuffle step, pendulum step. I guess they the same. It's just depending on how you use it. All right. You see Zach allowed his opponent to get onto the line. 3 ways to defend: head movement, blocking, and footwork. This time, Zach decided to defend with blocking. Block, block, block. Zach tried to come back with a counter, but his opponent got away, got off the line. Probe, attack. Zach, it was kind of stuck between the probe and attack. You see that probe pendulum step or probe shuffle step? Watch. Probe with his lead hand, probe, shuffle step. He got on the line through punches. Now his opponent is round 2. Let's focus on why Zach is doing what he's doing. So Zach, he's coming onto the line to land his shots. All right. He has no real fear of what's coming back to him. You know, Zach is counter punching, and let's go back a little bit. Zach, he doesn't have any fear of what's coming back because he's counterpunching. So he's essentially walking onto the line, and he's looking for his opponent to throw. Zach is pressuring for it. Let's go back. So Zach is more of a boxer puncher. He's not necessarily a pressure fighter, but he is a good counter puncher when he sets his mind to it. Let's go back. So Zach is fighting on the line. He's fighting on the line. He's forcing his opponent to throw, because when you're on the line, you can hit your opponent. But when you're on the line, your opponent can hit you. When you can control the line, you are controlling when the exchanges takes place. And that's what Zach is doing here. He's controlling when the exchanges are taking place. So Zach is the stronger opponent. So he doesn't mind exchanging with his opponent. His opponent is not controlling the line. His opponent is allowing Zach to control the line. He's allowing Zach to get on the line anytime he wants. His opponent is not able to keep Zach off his line. Zach just punched onto the line. Now his opponent has changed his strategy. He's going to exchange with Zach. And Zach, like I say, he's not necessarily a pressure fighter. He's more of a boxer. So Zach is working the line. So watch the difference between how Zach does not allow his opponent to get on his line, whereas his opponent allowed Zach to get on his line. So watch. All right. His opponent is pressuring forward now. This is the line right here. His opponent has to get here to hit Zach. So what is Zach going to do? Zach probes in. He's using his footwork to maintain this distance. He's using his footwork to work the line. There's a distance between the two now. Zach uses his footwork to stay off the line. Zach uses his footwork to stay off the line. His opponent is punching onto the line. Zach used his footwork and he changed the angle so he was able to avoid his opponent's attack. Now, Zach is pressuring forward. He's using his tactical flow, that head movement to hide his attack. So watch. His head moved to his right, his left, and he attacked on the move. Again, his left, right. Again, so watch again. Let's go back all the way. So Zach moves to his right. He slips to his left and he attacks off of that. Now he's going to slip to his left, to his right, and he attacks off of that. You see, that's what we call tactical flow, using his head movement and his movement to disguise his intentions, whether it be an attack or preemptive defense. All right, 3 types of defense: head movement, footwork, and blocking. Watch. Zach is going to stay on the line, but he's going to use head movement to defend, and he's going to pivot, do an outside pivot. All right. His opponent leaped onto the line. He punched onto the line. You could defend when your opponent punches onto the line. That's the easiest way to defend, and that's the easiest way to counterpunch when your opponent punches onto the line because of timing. But watch. His opponent is going to punch onto the line. Zach was able to block and counter. Again, Zach, instead of slipping, this time Zach blocked, used his defense to block to counter. All right, so you notice his opponent had a harder time defending because Zach didn't punch onto the line. You have a harder time defending when your opponent probes onto the line than whether your opponent punches onto the line, because you could defend the punch. It's kind of tougher to defend the probe. So watch. Probe. And his opponent reacted to the probe, and Zach was able to throw his combination. His opponent was expecting Zach to punch onto the line. Now he slipped onto the line, and he wasn't able to counter. Zach cutting out the ring. So his opponent successfully defended because Zach punched onto the line. Remember, it's easier to defend when your opponent punches onto the line than when your opponent probes onto the line. Watch. All right, his opponent slipped and pivot. Again, you see Zach is punching onto the line. Now his opponent is timing Zach because Zach is not feigning his attack. He's just punching onto the line. It's easier to defend when your opponent punches onto the line. You see the difference. Now Zach probed onto the line this time. So watch. Probe. All right, he threw his punches. It's harder. So you see how easier his opponent defended. Probe, punch. You see the difference between the two? It's easier for your opponent to defend against when you punch onto the line than when you probe onto the line. You see how his opponent is slipping and pivoting? All right, I hope you guys learned something right there. All right, so let's go to round 3. Round 3, Zach is a little winded as he sparred another sparring partner earlier. Zach with the probe in, with the double probe. Watch as Zach uses his double probes. Watch as Zach uses his double probes. Watch. Probe. And he tried to land, but he didn't get close enough. His opponent punched onto the line. Zach blocked. Double probe again. Let's check it out. Double probe. Probe. and Zach was able to land the hook. So Zach punched. He was close enough to punch on the line. His opponent is going straight back. Zach was able to kind of gazelle punch the hook. Bam. All right.
There you go. It's there all day.
All right. Looks like his opponent might be a touch tired because Zach punched onto the line. His opponent did not use his footwork to get off the line. His opponent tried to block. Let's see what happens. Oh, his opponent is going to throw a counter jab. So Zach is going to punch onto the line. His opponent is going to throw a counter jab. So let's watch. And it landed. Zach is kind of tired. He's not fainting. Let's go back to that. What we're going to learn. Boxing is the manipulation of both distance and timing. So Zach was able to use his footwork to close the distance, to close the gap. But you got to use distance and timing to control the line to be successful. And the reason why you need to use timing is because when you're close enough to hit your opponent, you're close enough to get hit, which happened in this case. So you see?
Back on the stick, don't wait.
Now they both just exchanging. Zach probing in. He missed the initial hook, came back with the uppercut. Now they both just exchanging. Zach pulled, counter. That was a pull counter. Zach allowed his opponent to get onto the line. Watch, his opponent's going to cross the gap, get onto the line, and Zach just pulled counter. Who's going to get onto the line now? Who's going to lead or? Okay, Zach with the feint, and all right, so Zach is using his footwork to close the gap. He's using his footwork to close the gap, to get on the line, to land his shot, probe, and then leaping left hook. What happened is his opponent went straight back. He made it easy for Zach to land. The opponent is just going to go straight back. His opponent used footwork to avoid Zach's attack, but he went straight back to the ropes.
Stick, don't wait for him. When you go to your right, switch.
Let's look at that sequence again. Let's go back all the way back. All right, so who's going to cross the line? I think his opponent's going to go forward. Zach is going to hold his ground and counter. He's going to pull. Oh, well, no, it was cross counter. He threw the right hand over the jab. Zach is circling. His opponent tried to punch onto the line. Zach is just counter punching now. Zach allows his opponent to get onto the line. And when you're on the line, you can hit your opponent. When you're on the line, your opponent can hit you. So Zach took advantage of this. His opponent got on the line to hit Zach. Zach defended successfully and hit him. That's what I mean when you're at the line. When you're on the line, you can hit your opponent. When you're on the line, your opponent can hit you. You can use that. That's what counter punching is. Pro, attack. Pull, counter. Pro, attack. Using footwork. He held his ground. He blocked. He defended by blocking and tried to come back. Jab. He's going forward. Jab. 1-2. That was a straight 1-2. He stepped onto the line. Zach using footwork for defense. Probing. Exchange. When you're on the line, you can hit your opponent. When you're on the line, your opponent can hit you. Zach stayed onto the line. His opponent came in, probed onto the line. He's on the line. He can hit Zach. Of course, Zach can hit you. That's what I mean. If you control the line, you control the exchanges. His opponent didn't adequately control the exchange. He didn't control the line because he didn't manipulate distance and timing. Zach switch southpaw. Now it's an exchange. Now there's no control. Now who's stronger? Who's in more condition? Zach getting off the line. His opponent's coming forward. Slip. That was a good counter punch. All right. His opponent is coming forward. His opponent didn't feint. His opponent is going to punch onto the line, and Zach is going to use his defense to create offense. That's what counter punching is. You got to be on the line to land your shots. So Zach allowed his opponent to get onto the line, slip. All right. You see it right there. Slip. Zach throws the counter uppercut to the body. Boom. That was a good shot. Slip, uppercut to the body. And Zach get off the line. He skated. Probe. Double probe again. Let's watch that. Zach is going to probe. Probe. He probed again and punched onto the line. Probe, punch. Now his opponent blocked onto the line. He walked in on the line with a high guard. So technically that's blocking onto the line. He just wasn't successful as far as he didn't manipulate timing. So Zach was able to throw his combination. Again, his opponent, maybe he's a little irritated. His opponent is just walking onto the line, and Zach is just throwing. Once you're on the line, you can land your shots. But of course, you can land shots. All right, so that's it. Please leave your comments in the comments section. We're going to put the unedited version of this sparring session on the Discord channel. On the Discord channel, I mean, we're going to throw a whole bunch of long form content that wouldn't really fly here on YouTube, and you can ask all the questions you want. And we're going to put unedited training footage in the Discord server, on the Discord server. Just wouldn't really work here on YouTube, but on Discord, if you're really curious about how we train and unedited, so you just see the raw training. We're going to do all that on the Discord server. So please look out for that. Please look for the links. Please support us. And I really thank you for your support. A lot of your comments, a lot of you guys really enjoy what we do, and we're going to do a whole lot more. So this is Coach Carter, and I'd like to thank Zachary Carter. We're out.